Action.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Coach Kathi. I'm your host, Kathi Sottosanti, and I am with the powerlifting crew today. So we've got Joe Lombardo, Scholars and Iron, Henri Skiba, we're at Skiba's Gym in Carteret, New Jersey, and Coach Debbie Cohen, who has a powerlifting team of women. And we're here to introduce you to and or empower you on this sport of powerlifting.
Great. Yeah, so, as Kathi said, Joe Lombardo, Scholars and Iron. I'm on Instagram as well. And really, I'm trying to figure out, what is it about powerlifting in which women are more and more gravitating towards, as a sport. And let's say away from the more kind of cardio circuits that we've been kind of seeing and are more heavily marketed, right, towards women. So maybe just talk a little bit about your experiences. And
Sure. Go ahead.
Well, both Kathi and I and Henri, we work very hard to get more women involved in powerlifting. It's a slow process because women don't fear the weights. Men have troubles gaining muscle, and so for women, it doesn't mean if you touch a barbell, you're going to look like a man. It's a myth. So it is hard work to get more women to lift, and to get on the gym floor and out of the aerobic classes,
Right.
which have their place. But you should not fear the weights and enjoy the fun of lifting.
I have to input a little bit here right now because one of the things that just came to my mind was several years ago when Debbie and I met, I came up with the idea, because I have two daughters and I feel very strongly about getting women involved in different things that makes them happy. And as far as I'm concerned, it really is a series of positive things with them that make them feel good about themselves. But one of the real reasons I really got involved with it was because at one time there was just simply male powerlifting meets and they had female ones. And all the time, one of the things I've seen that really bothered me was in a meet, they had these meets where they give a certain amount of money, like, $5,000 in first place for men, $3,000 for second, so much for third. And women, they gave her like a trophy and some flowers. I just can't see in today's world how you can have such a vast difference in what they do for people and people accept that. It really pissed me off. So what I did was several years ago, I ran a Lady Liberty meet. And the reason was because I said I wanted to see, having like two daughters and being involved in women and teaching in the whole 9 yards, I wanted to see some kind of equality. So what I did was I went to different people. I got the money up front. I had $1,000 for first, $500 for second, $300 for third, which was respectable amount of money for a first time meet and so forth. And I was very happy at the turnout. I had people from all over come out, and I felt like I helped get things moving forward into doing something for women's powerlifting. Now it just so happens that meets all the time people come up to me, they associate that with me and with Kathi and Debbie and so forth, and I feel very strongly about it. And so I'm telling you something, if you're interested in powerlifting, find somebody that's a good coach. If you're in my area, come on down because we work with a lot of different people. It's not a money thing for me, it's a simple thing of passion. I enjoy to see people succeed.
That competition that Henri's talking about was the first one I ever did, 58 years old. I didn't win, but it didn't matter. It was the first competition, and I got my taste into powerlifting, and I hit great numbers. Again, 58 years old, so age doesn't matter. Yes, I got all 9 lifts I passed. So it's a fountain of youth.
Yep. So I would say I have been exercising my whole life. Got 5 kids, so in and around having babies, I would try to get back into my clothes. Like the next size up wasn't an option. So vanity was at play here for exercise for me. And then at 49, I started training with a trainer, Barry Bostic, and he started pushing me to lift heavier. And to my shock and surprise, I picked up a 225-pound barbell. It was literally the hardest thing I'd ever done. But it opened my eyes to the fact that I could build more strength. And at 50, 51, I really started to feel the power of the strength I was building and decided to compete for the first time at 52 years old. So for me, it was incredibly empowering. And what I learned was this is a sport of uplifting. Everybody wants to help everyone do their best. I'm not out to lift heavier than another person who's been training for a certain number. It's personal, and it felt so good to feel strong. I say all the time that exercise is medicine, because it is. Back in the early 1900s, doctors wrote prescriptions for people who were sick to exercise. And so when the pills came out, we swapped out medicine for exercise. But it truly is, it just makes you feel so much better. You can't get these hormones, in other ways. So, if we could bottle that feeling of what it feels like to be done with a training session, we'd be millionaires. What I come in, at my first powerlifting meet at 52, I met Henri, and along the way at one of them I met Debbie, and it's so beautiful to make relationships with these people in this sport, because we all come together to help each other just feel good. And when you're in an environment like this, it looks intimidating as hell, but it's really the exact opposite. Men and women alike want the best for everyone. You can sit here in a room with 12 people, men and women, 13-year-old young boys to people our age, and they're there to coach, help, guide, and make sure that your form is on point and you know what you're doing. I mean, there's a wealth of knowledge to come here and to be empowered on these lifts.
To watch a meet, one thing, and one time we used to know, and that's what I used to enjoy so much about training with weights, was the simple brotherhood of lifting. And
Sisterhood.
Well, that's one of the point I'm going to make. The point I'm going to make is that with the brotherhood of lifting, right? You used to see somebody, you nod, you had like a little bit of, there was a certain relationship between them. You watch another meet, like you talk a meet that is a all women's type meet, you want to see some sisterhood and people getting together. People that go through their everyday lives and look forward to lift and train. It's just absolutely uplifting. And I really enjoy that. And the other thing I like to make a comment about, how many sports do you know that actually they say biomechanically, according to Wilks formula and so forth, that actually women pound for pound lift actually more than some men? And because just the way the bodies are designed, because the way the hips are, their flexibility and so forth, women have become pound for pound better lifters than guys. You see their lean muscle and they train hard and they have great results and success. So listen, if you equal the playing ground on that field, the women are succeeding and they're doing fantastic. So that's why I get so much out of it, seeing that, for myself, and also seeing other people succeed and being happy. And I know that they walk away after, training like that, a better person, because they feel good about themselves.
And I think we have to get away from, this whole idea that exercising for a number on a scale, right? Like I use the scale all the time, but I use it as a tool to measure more if I'm feeling like a certain food sensitivity, to see if it caused inflammation in my body. Because you're not going to, to gain a pound, you need to eat a surplus of 3,500 extra calories, right? So if your weight is up 2 pounds today, down 2 pounds, it's not that you've eaten or had a deficit of 7,000 calories and you lost 2 pounds just in a day. That doesn't happen. So we often, too often, especially women, look at the scale, pick a number, and try to create that number. But when you start exercising, which is so beneficial to your body, or lifting weights, you increase bone density. You do so many positive things for the inside of your body. And I believe it's anti-aging too, because we eat a certain way and we want to make sure we have enough protein to rebuild. That I really want to say to people, just get out and exercise and use weights. Feel good in your body and then see what that number equals, right? Feel amazing, feel strong, and whatever that number equals is an incredibly valuable number, instead of the opposite of picking a number and trying to create a body that fits that number. It may not happen, and that's a beautiful thing.
And when you power lift and gain muscle, that number on the scale becomes less and less meaningful.
Right.
I was 165 pounds and a size 8 to 10, which is a good size for a nice slender size for a woman. Right. But at 165 pounds, for my height, doctors were telling me I need to go on a diet and exercise program. Meanwhile, I have these biceps that would have to be, shrink in order to get down any further in weight.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, we spoke about this before, but I just wanted to, pitch it again to you, both of you. Let's say you have a young woman who does want to exercise or train, right? Maybe pitch them the idea of powerlifting. Like, why powerlift?
Powerlifting is an empowering sport. And I would encourage people to get involved because it's not about competing against anybody but yourself. It's about building your own personal strength. It's about building your confidence. It's about feeling better in clothes because you feel stronger, you walk taller, you feel good. And there's a method to it. There's a program. It's really fun.
And you get to eat a lot.
Yeah.
You do. You have to fuel your body.
Right.
So it's a good sport if you like to eat, and the camaraderie you get in the gym is amazing. It doesn't matter, man, woman, older, younger, child. We're all doing the same lifts.
Right.
And that's what I think is really cool.
Yeah.
When I can watch something on YouTube where some big Russian guy is lifting 1,000 pounds, I can look at it and say, I do that lift. Maybe not 1,000 pounds,
Right.
but it's empowering to me to know I could do that motion. I could do that lift. And coming from a world of being a computer nerd and academically excelling, but gym was not my thing. If I could do it, anybody could do it. My first competition was at 58 years old, and I'm 62, and now I'm coaching other women, and I have a team, powerlifting mamas. Some of us are grandmas.
Right.
And we just have, and it's a lot of fun. There's so many variations. There's so many things to learn. You never get bored with it like you would cardio, that's for sure. And it's fun. You get to eat, and everybody's there to help each. And we're talking about the competitions. Competition isn't really a good word for it. Sometimes we just call it a meet, because you're not really competing against other people. You're competing. You want to see what you can do under a completely controlled environment where each lift has to be performed a certain way. Both Kathi and I are certified judges in a federation, so we watch to make sure that the lifts are completed exactly as they're supposed to. So this way you can see how you progress from meet to meet. It's really as a test environment to see
Right.
how you can do. And yes, you do compete against other people. There are awards and all that, but because there's so many federations and there's so many weight classes and age classes, that there's something for everybody, including the very competitive people who will compete in the open class, which means it's everybody. So, it's really, you're competing against yourself. And if you want to compete against others, compete in the open, which is very exciting to do.
And I think also women fear, we talked about this, but fear the weights because they think that they're going to bulk up in 2 seconds. It takes a lot of work and a lot of the right foods, like, how many pounds and pounds of broccoli to build that kind of muscle. It takes time.
Once we were talking about lifting.
But
Yeah.
you still won't
Technically.
fit into skinny jeans. Forget skinny jeans,
That's
throw
a
them
good
out.
thing.
They don't
Listen.
go over my calves. Who wants them anyway?
Now, everybody, when they do cardio and they get on a treadmill, okay, you say you lose 5 pounds of fat, lose 5 pounds of muscle. What you are is a smaller version of yourself, right? Okay, now that might be something you want, but what happens if you take that same scenario, drag a sled, take 5 pounds of fat, and put 1 pound of muscle on? Not only does it make you smaller in size, but it puts you, actually, you put one more pound of muscle on, you burn more calories in your body, you look better because you have more muscle on your body, and you're accomplishing really what you want. You want to put muscle on and drop body fat.
Right.
Lifting, especially the kind of lifting that we do, is a really good answer for you because it incorporates everything from training with the weights to also using sled drag into more movement type oriented type things that actually make you feel better and live a better life.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what I like about lifting too is that everybody always, especially in my world of folks who works in offices and all that stuff, and just burn the stress off. Well, the great thing about lifting is not only it burns the stress, but you come out with like something to show for it.
Right.
I don't know. I like lifting better. I know that if next week I have my program, I know if I have to, go heavier or go lighter or go back, it's just everything is very organized and very disciplined. And for a person like me, at least, I kind of need that. I feel like, that kind of like structure, where I don't feel like cardio gives me that structure. If I just run until I'm tired or run this, but for me, I think lifting it's a science. I think powerlifting for me has really become a science.
Right. And you got to have a little bit. You got to have, it's everything. You want the cardio for the heart, but you need the strength for building the bones and the muscle, and really to be at best health.
Right.
Yeah, especially as we age. Women lose 1% of their muscle mass every year after 30. And we can build it back. It doesn't take much to build it back. In this exercise symposium, they said 3 sets of leg lifts, 3 sets, 12 to 15, 3 times a week, was enough for a senior citizen to build back 50% of muscle mass.
Wow.
No kidding.
Yeah. Yep. And they've been doing a lot of research since the astronauts come back, and since there's no gravity in space, they come back. You have to physically carry them off the spaceships. So now they were looking to incorporate exercise while they're up in space, because gravity is the key. And it's anti-aging. Dr. Christiane Northrup says this all the time. Gravity is the key to anti-aging, up and down. Even if it's, sitting, squatting, just making sure you're getting up and down and working against gravity.
Oh, that's fantastic. There
Yeah.
you go.
Wow.
Well,
So
I really appreciate your time, all 3 of you, really. I mean, it's always a pleasure being back here with Henri.
thank you.
It's really, truly. And, nice to meet you, Kathy, of course.
You too.
So it's
Yep.
really-
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Hopefully I'll be able to come up here more and see all 3 of you, if not more.
Right.
In the coming months and stuff like
And maybe
that.
the more we talk, the less intimidating it becomes, and the more empowering it is for people to get started. Because, any age, getting started, 49, right? First competition at 58, first competition at 52. And it really was one of the best things I ever did. Stronger in my 50s than in my 20s and 30s.
Don't be afraid to ask people.
Yeah.
People in the gym come up to me and they ask, and I try to help them. I enjoy
Happy to
it.
help.
I enjoy giving it back, and most powerlifters are like that. We're like a family.
You know why? It just feels good for us. We want to
Yes.
share it. We
Yeah.
want to get it out there with other people. Because if you feel it too, you're going to feel better.
Right.
Exactly.
Don't fear the weights. They're so good for your body. All right. So thanks, everybody. Right.
Thanks.
Thank you. Check out the podcast on Scholars in Iron with Joe Lombardo. And thanks for checking in with Coach Kathy
And your YouTube videos.
and YouTube videos. Appreciate it. And Skiba, thanks for letting us come in and play. Thank you.